Morning, everybody. One step forward and three step back, it feels like lately. If you don't know, if you don't follow me on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, man, like last week, I ended up sort of day and a half off because of just other crap going on. Late. I can't remember what today is, but anyway, not yesterday, but the day before, part way through the day. Partner Rachel, she's been rearing young calves as they've been born for a dairy farm here. So basically they take them into big wintering sort of tight open sheds, and they feed them and look after them and sort them out as they obviously get stronger over the weeks. And then eventually they'll go out into a paddock when they're strong enough. But anyway, she was tube feeding a calf that was a few days old that was being stubborn and wouldn't eat or drink. So they were tube feeding it, and so basically they have to they straddle it with their legs and then hold their head up and put a tube in it. Well, this bull calf must have got its leg, or back leg, free and flicked it and kicked it back onto her knee and just blew her knee out. So she collapsed to the ground, obviously let the calf go. She managed to smack her kneecap back into place because it went round to the side of her left leg and on the outside. So yeah, she managed to smack it back in, and she sort of persevered for the rest of the day with an aid of some stick that she found somewhere, and sort of persevered for the last few hours. But anyway, come home, we got one of those stretchy knee braces, put that on her leg to try and help hold it, take a bit of pressure off, if you know what I mean, to help support the leg. I was like, well, how do you feel, what do you do, whatever. And she's, oh yeah, I'll just go to work tomorrow, I'll be right. Yeah, okay, you're right. Rightio, whatever. She said, I managed to hobble around today, if I keep going, that'll be right. Well, anyway, she woke up yesterday morning and she could barely move. And so I was like, oh, it doesn't look like you're going anywhere today. She says, right. So I was basically said, oh, we'll get you sorted. We'll get the young fellow to school. I said, we'll go into Invercargill, the big town, big city. It's like 50 or 60,000 people. We'll go into the hospital and we'll get your leg x-rayed and whatever and checked out, and just make sure that everything is okay in there. If it's going to take a couple of weeks to heal, it's going to take a couple of weeks to heal before you can sort of move around again. But we better check to see whether everything's in the right place and you don't need knee surgery or anything like that. Well, they took x-rays. I'll throw a picture up. I just took a quick picture of it off the computer. Her kneecap's sitting to the outside. It's on top, but it's to the outside. So something's not wrong right in there. So next Tuesday, we're going to go back to the hospital because they've done obviously an x-ray, but they couldn't get us in for an MRI. So she's going to have an MRI on her leg and see what happens from there. So yeah, she's in a locked out knee brace now. And so basically that was a whole day wasted. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to research because of what I was trying to do in our last video. I was trying to see if I can make a steam box or a sweat box for some timber out of that big PVC pipe when I get the video edited. Basically I was trying to boil a pot of water underneath it and keep the steam going up into it. But my heat source, which was like one of those little camp cookers they have like the little butane packs clip into them. After about 10-15 minutes, it would start, it would get really, really cold, the actual canister, and the flame would just die down into almost sort of, it was going, but it was almost nothing. If you heated that can back up to room temperature again, it was fine, it would go again, but just a pain in the ass. So yeah, it's not a reliable heat source, so I couldn't even I had to keep changing. Fortunately I brought 2 or 3 canisters with me, but I had to keep changing to try and keep the pot boiling, if you know what I mean, to keep the steam going. Because somebody said that will work, you know, like as a basic one, you know, just put something like a pot or a kettle or something, or a jug, whatever you want to call it, underneath there with steam source going all the time, and just keep the pot, you know, or the jug or whatever fairly full, and just keep it boiling, you know, and keep the steam going up there, and that'll sweat or steam the wood and get it all nice and soft and supple, and then we should be able to pull it around to what we want. Well, I persevered with about an hour and a half, and yeah, it was sort of working, but it wasn't working. It wasn't reliable enough, it wasn't consistent enough. So, and unfortunately, I just haven't had time to suss that out. But in the meantime, I managed to get some of these flappy rolly things, different size ones. I think they're all 80 grit, are they? I know there's a 60 grit, and the rest are all 80 grits. So there's a smaller, couple of middle-sized ones and a big one. And I managed to get some more of these Rolex discs. These green ones, they're 120 grit, 40 grit, and 80 grit, I think. So I'll get a little bit of a variety of those. I actually ended up with these ones. He actually bought me these ones, the owner. He got me confused. These are like little Scotch-Brite type things. I would play with one because I kept one here. So yeah, I've actually found quite a good source of these. That's handy and local-ish, you know what I mean, and in the cable. But easy enough to get hold of as long as the supplies can keep up. At the moment with all this freaking stupid bullshit around the world, God, it's just a pain in the ass. Man, is the price of everything gone up. I bought oil and a filter for the Ford Mondeo, which I'm going to do shortly, and then while I'm underneath there, I'll have a look at the steering rack situation, see how difficult is it going to be to change, but I think it's going to be a complete bitch, because from a couple of videos I've watched off the same chassis platform, I think there's 2 or 3 different Fords of those European variations that run that same sort of subframe motor and chassis platform, but obviously the body's different. You basically got to drop the subframe or let the subframe hang down, like I said, undo the bolts to almost right off, so you know, to give you an extra couple inches sort of type thing, so you can get the rack out, which is just a bitch. It's just like far out why that makes it so difficult. So yeah, I'm going to have a look at that to see whether I can get the rack changed. But I need to change the oil on it because it's coming up with the engine fault code again, obviously the oil. Because it came up with a service, it needs serviced, and then within about 2 days it came up with engine malfunction. And the last time it did that, it was because the oil had degraded too far. So obviously, yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. So I need to get that changed. Yeah, and then I'll suss out the steering rack, so I'll try and do some videos on that. I might do that at the weekend at Mum and Dad's. So no, Mum and Dad are going to be away, so I'll just borrow the old man's workshop, because he's got jack and all that sort of crap there and whatever, so plenty of room there to do it. I'll have a look at the steering rack, see what that's involved to do that, because I need to get it through the safety. I'm just been procrastinating on it, because of the COVID stuff. They've sort of been a bit relaxed with some of the safety checks and all that sort of stuff. They're giving people a little bit of leeway because it's been very awkward to get stuff done. But I need to get it done so I can re-register the vehicle next month, because it's due for registration for the year as well. So yeah, need to get that sorted. So I'll do some videos on that, but yeah, I'll carry on. What I might do is spend a little bit of time with these things, see how these work, and get these cleaned up a bit nicer. And I've also got materials for the rest of this roof stuff. As I've got on a video, but I haven't edited it yet. I've got materials for this stuff. The only thing we're looking to see if we can borrow off a friend is a small tube bender, or we might look at, I know you can get them some little tube benders for pulling around copper and stuff like that. We might look at that. We might just have to heat the tube a little bit and pull it around, just so we can get some nice curves instead of kinking tube and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Just to do it nicely, properly. That didn't matter, it was just trial to see how that worked. So yeah, we've still got to finish that stuff. Yeah, I'll have a bit more think about this sweat box too, or steam box for this wood, to try and make this back piece. Yeah, it's either that or just make it in sections, but that's not ideal either. Like it is, but it isn't. It would be nice to have just one piece of timber around here, pulled around and clamped down, and then eventually glue it or screw it down, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I assume it probably comes right out to the edge or close to it, if you know what I mean. Probably keep it in a little bit, or I would imagine possibly just keep it in a little bit. So it's got the upholstery's got somewhere to come down to, but so it's not really hanging off the edge of the body. By the time you give you a couple of layers, it'll come up to the edge, if you know what I mean. And then the canvas roof will come down onto that, over that. So yeah, that's about where I'm at. I'll stop waffling because I'm 11 minutes. Just reading this. It's like, come on, focus on me. Try to get the focus in there. I was just trying to read the, it's got max RPMs and it says 80 ms. Was that meters per second? It's like, why don't they just put like, 200 revolutions per minute, or it's not, it's 80 ms. What is that, meters per second? Is that what they're saying? I don't know. It's like, it's not a language, max RPMs, 80 ms. It's like, it's not as though it's, like 1,000 revolutions per minute or something like that. Like, is that meters per second? That's the only thing I can think it is. I don't know. Stupid. What a freaking stupid way to label a maximum revolution speed. Well, I fixed my old die grinder that I've had for 18 years. I pulled it apart, actually the guts of it, where the air runs through, at the top of it, it got misaligned, so it was only getting about half the air. So I think at a couple of points, I think once that this had come off, and I think that the jam nut that holds everything else had come loose at some point. I can't remember when, but I can remember it coming loose at some point, and I think I just screwed it back together. But I think what had happened is the guts had turned where it controls the air through to push the internals around, if you know what I mean. I think it sort of was half cut off. So I pulled it apart and I actually sprayed it all out, cleaned it all out with brake clean. Rotated it and cleaned all the old oil and any shit out of it. Re-lubed it, lined those pieces up properly, or as good as I could see, if you know what I mean. Because it's got a locating dowel for the front piece, and then I lined the back piece up with the little ear piece, you know what I mean. Lined that all up in the back and dropped it in, and yeah, it goes good now. So I'll take that as a win. I thought it was dying, but that's good. I've got 2 good straight die grinders again. So yeah, these things, like, even though these were cheap, if you can get 18 years or more out of a die grinder, who cares if it costs frickin' $20 or $30? I'll carry on cleaning this stuff up. So I'm just trying to even some of the marks out of it before I come back in with this, because there's a couple of these smaller ones sort of fit in here. I've tried all 4 of them, I think. These ones here sort of fit in there. That fits the best from this, but these more open ones work quite well. Some of these bigger will work quite well. That's the only one I haven't tried, because it's a bit big, but it'd be fine in here. These would be really handy for all sorts of stuff. I'm not sure how much they were. I'll look that up and I'll put it up. these were from the tool shed here in New Zealand, but I know where we got the Rolex discs from, these ones. They had them as well. I'm pretty sure they're the same brand. They just, obviously, these guys put their own labels on to, but I'm pretty sure it was the same thing in here, if you know what I mean. It looked like it was the same label, so it would have been coming from the same place. Anyway, I'll carry on cleaning some of this stuff up and get these cleaned up and polished up a lot further, if you know what I mean, until we work out what we're doing with this hot box for this wood. I'll come back, guys. Righty guys, so I've actually been attacking these things. I've actually just done one so far. I'll actually get a bit of TA disc in there. I've been going over them with obviously these things here, where I sort of need to get into some of these more awkward spots in here, like trying to get some nice radiuses and just trying to get it smooth and even. And then a combination of these heavy grit Rolex discs, and I've got a couple of different grades. I think I've got some 80s and some 120s, I think they are, and also I've got a, where is it? I've actually got a Scotch-Brite type one here as well. I actually might get some more of these. These actually tend to, I don't know, they sort of clean up what you've done with the other Rolex discs afterwards. I sort of run across that and it actually sort of polishes up a little bit. Quite handy. I've also run over what I can with the DA, like the sort of more flatter surfaces like this sort of stuff. Just trying to get these a bit more polished, more towards polishing up, if you know what I mean. So we can obviously get them coated or whatever we end up doing. I haven't done anything with this piece yet, so you can sort of see the difference from, say, this, which is the one. These are the second ones I made, to here. But this is a lot more finished and a lot more cleaned up around the edges. So I've tried to, you know, improve things a bit. Obviously got quite a wee way to go, but I'm sort of now need like finer grit sandpapers. Probably might start with some 120 or some 180 and then go to 240 and 320 and 400 and on, if you know what I mean, to get it to the point where they look really nice, and then maybe go over them with a like Jeweler's Rouge and see if we can polish them up, see if they actually come up quite nice. So I want to try and get into that level where they can be coated, like copper coated and then nickel, because that's what they would have been done. So like that can be done, be dipped a couple of times with copper and then buffed up and then done with the with nickel, and then they should be pretty good. But yeah, we'll just have to do a few more steps yet in between. So yeah, I'm sort of trying to do that while we're trying to organise a few other things and see if we can get this, some work out a way to get that, what do you call it, the steam box to do what I want to do around the back here with this wood. And we're going to get a little bender, little hand bender or something to just so we can make these shapes nice in here, not having dirty kinks in that nice steel tube we'll get over there. So yeah, then we've also got some rod and a bit of flat bar and bits and pieces to try and do the final pieces for here. But I thought while I was just sort of in between other stuff, I thought I'll have a go and get these another couple of steps closer, if you know what I mean. That's sort of the plan. So while I'm doing other things at other times, I'll spend a few hours sanding or whatever to try and get them closer. So yeah, I've still got to do this. But it's basically lunchtime. I just drained the compressor because I'm starting to get a bit of moisture come through. Hopefully we'll get that manifold sorted out too there, so we get basically no water coming through the lines.
it's, you know, it all takes time, and with being locked down too, it hasn't helped because we haven't been able to get some bits we needed. It's a bit more accessible now, but yeah, we should better get that, some more of that sort of stuff sorted out. So anyway, I'll talk to you later on, and we'll see you later. Right, how you going, guys? Oh, she's yucky out there at the moment. Anyway, so this is the second set I've been cleaning up, detailing. I've got a long way to go on this one. I've got a few little spots I want to actually put a bit more weld in, just to try and tidy up on this, mainly around here. Yeah, they're coming up pretty good. You know, I want to get to some real fine grit sandpaper and bits and pieces. And this is the other piece, been to slowly detailing that up, getting it, you know, cleaned up, ground up, getting happy with, you know, the overall shape and all that sort of stuff. I haven't done anything with this piece yet. I've got the other one back on the car, or if you want to, just looking at it, just working out what I'm doing with this rod for this piece. Obviously, when I bend that round and weld it together, it's permanent. So that's why I haven't done anything more to it. I'm just trying to work out what I think I need to do, and obviously the distance, and just making sure I'm happy with how it works. So yeah, that's that one sort of detail as far. Like there's a few little spots in here I might just touch up with the welder too, and then clean them up again. But yeah, we're getting really close with that sort of stuff. You know, like hopefully another day with some sandpaper, you know, up to probably 500 or 600 or even 800 or something like that, and then we should be able to plate them. But yeah, this is going to be the awkward piece. It's actually putting this wire through and welding it on without actually damaging anything. I'm just trying to work in the head way around that, what I'm going to do there. Yeah, the only other thing I can think of is if I open this gap up and obviously bend it around and then pop that out and then weld it there, and like grind it back and hide it, and then slip that back in so it's the join's actually hidden. But then it's still going to be permanent on here. So yeah, it's one of those funny sort of things that's, once it's on there, it's on there, if you know what I mean. Like you can't take it off once it's on. Or the wire, I mean, you know. So that's sort of where we're at. I haven't really done anything else, just been sanding and detailing and smoothing out and getting all the final shapes and the edges and all that sort of stuff to where I'm sort of happy, or getting it to another level, if you know what I mean, trying to get them all even and clean. And you know, I've filed a lot of it to try and get it smoother, and you know, work on the pieces that I can. Obviously this is very awkward to file, but I've done parts of it to try and get a better finish. And so yeah, it takes time, eh? Just people don't realise how long it takes to restore a car, especially like this, like a more modern one. A lot of the times you're not having to chase and detail parts so much, if you know what I mean. But when you get in something like this, if you haven't got it, you're going to make it. Like it's just, you know, like a parts car like that. Like the parts are worse, if you know what I mean. You know, because it's a 100-year-old car. Like it's not as though it's a 30 or 40-year-old car, whereas it hasn't got. But you still got to repair stuff. But like sometimes things aren't as far gone with that sort of age. You know, if you can get hold of a reasonable sort of parts car. But you know, when it's sort of that sort of age, it's either rebuildable or it's complete junk, or you've actually got to rebuild the whole thing, if you know what I mean. Like it's very awkward to get parts that you don't have to do anything to. You know, like maybe like if you're working on something a little bit more modern, like I'm sort of talking 50s or 60s, you might have to just give it a quick clean up and paint, or you might have to do a small repair. But you know, and they're probably a bit more readily available. But when you're getting back into the 20s,
yeah, unless you're really lucky, you know, you're rebuilding everything, you know. It doesn't matter what it is, you know, you might get away with some parts, but you're going to have to do something to everything, you know. That's, or you're going to have to actually physically make it, you know, because they're just, those parts aren't available, unless you're buying brand new stuff on stuff that's common, you know, like Model A's and things like that. There was a lot of them around, and the parts are really available, especially in the States. But some of this sort of stuff here, it's just, you know, you either spend thousands getting it from the States, if you can find it new or whatever, or you spend thousands making it. It's $1,500 the other, and sometimes it's quicker to make it than, and actually know that it's going to be right when you get it, than spend thousands on something that's not a really good copy, and then you've got to fix it anyway. So yeah, it's, you know, $1,500 the other. So, but anyway, I will carry on. I don't know if I'm going to work too much longer today. I've had enough of just standing here sanding and cleaning and changing between between a like a carbide bit and one of these rolls and this thing, Rolex disc and a file, and occasionally I've been using the DA, and occasionally every now and again I'll go back to the grinder with a flappy wheel to take a bit more material off fast. You know, if I'm not 100% happy with the shape, or you know, I'm just trying to smooth that shape out a bit better. Sometimes I go back to that and then go back to the file to get it, try and flatten that piece out, or trying to get it, you know, level the playing field out so it's not so much bumpy, and clean it up. So yeah, it takes a long time to try and detail a part like this, especially to the level that you need to nickel plate it, or even chrome plate it, or copper coat it, or whatever, you know. Doesn't matter, it's going to be plated at some point, and it's got to look nice. So yeah, even though it was probably cast back in the day and parts weren't going to look super pretty, but the outside of them was always pretty well finished. So that's what we're at. So yeah, I'll be doing probably something similar tomorrow, and yeah, maybe try and see if we can sweat some of this wood, if we can work a few things out. But yeah, that might be next week's project, possibly. It's just sometimes it takes a trial of something, doesn't work, and then you got to try and find a slightly better way to do things. So yeah, alright, we'll catch you later on. Cheers. Alrighty, so welcome back, guys. So just getting ready here to steam some wood. And man, on Instagram, if I had $100 for every time somebody asked me if I wanted card drawings or logos drawn recently, far out, I think I get 3 or 4 a week. Yeah, I can draw and make logos. I don't do a lot of drawing anymore. I draw when I can, or when I get a chance, or when I feel in the mood for it. And I'm just starting to dabble with the digital side of it. So eventually I'll get better and better and better. I wish I could actually sit down and draw quite regularly, but I don't get the opportunity. But anyway, so we're working on the old sweat box, steaming box, whatever you want to call it. So I got everything set up. We're just waiting on this to boil a bit, to get a wee bit of heat in that. This is an overflow bit without the holes in it. So we're just going to plug that over that and just let it boil. That bucket's probably, I don't know, probably half full of water, I suppose. So I think it's about a 20-litre pail, or like one of those old grease buckets or oil buckets, whatever they were. As you can see, it's a Caltex oil or whatever it was. So yeah, might have been hydraulic oil or something. So we're just using that to boil some water in, obviously with a decent gas burner. So yeah, once we get it boiling, we'll hook this on and let it steam for hopefully a couple of hours, and then we'll let that down. In the end of the plastic, I've just punched one little hole in it, so as the steam goes through, it doesn't build up too much pressure, because
apparently if you have it capped off really solid, it'll build up a lot of pressure in there. Obviously steam builds pressure. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. And I've just, while I'm waiting on that to bore, I just zapped up a few of the little spots in here that I wasn't happy with. I'm going to pull those other bits apart and come over and do the same thing and just touch up the little pieces so I can just clean them back and grind them back a bit better. I'm just filling the imperfections. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. So yeah, I'll come back to you shortly. Hopefully we'll get that hooked in shortly. That pot's been, I don't know, it's probably been boiling for, well, heating up for probably 15-10 minutes. We're just doing it as we were doing the setup. Lit it and whatever, probably should have done a little bit earlier, but yeah, we were trying to sort ourselves out, working out how we were going to do it. But yeah, just a bit of old plywood, drilled a couple of holes in it, used one as a plug. Just got the plastic taped on the other end so it holds the steam in there. I think that should work. Yeah, at least it'll be a bit easier to get the wood in and out too. I've just got a couple of nails just sort of gently pushed in there. So when we get in close, we can just pop those nails out and then unplug the plug and pull the timber out and pull it around there, and hopefully, you know, between the two sticks we should be all right. I've got two in there just in case one doesn't work, if you know what I mean. Because I know there is a bit of a knot in one. So yeah, that's probably the, you know, I'll try that one first and I'll just leave the other one in there and keep it warm. Because apparently you've only got a few minutes to work with it. So yeah, I'll just put my leather gloves on and we'll get into it and try it. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm doing today, and then I'm going to go change the oil on the Monday after that. I'll film that too and just talk a little bit extra crap there, but I'll just do that in a little video. So I want to have a look at that steering rack situation. Alrighty, we'll get on the ball. It's like it's only like 3 or 4 minutes after I just turned the camera off. So yeah, I just managed to get the pipe into there. I just lifted the thing plank up and it was really starting to boil, so it's cool. So let that sit there and go for a while. And you know, as you can see, it's just a little bit of steam coming out the end of it, so like it's not fully sealed, but that should hold it in enough. I'm hoping that'll work. So yeah, that's cool. I'll let it do its thing for a couple of hours. Hopefully it keeps going long enough. So it's 10 o'clock now, so I think about 12 or thereabouts we'll start having a look and see what the wood's doing and seeing how supple it is, and then obviously start bending it and see how we get on. As long as that lasts for a couple of hours burning, we'll be right. I'll clean these up a little bit. Yeah, right, so yeah, I can barely put my hand on this. It's like I can hold my hand on it, but for not very long. And down there, like I can barely hold my hand on it. So even up here, it's very hot. So yeah, it's definitely working. Awesome. Well, it was working too well for the PVC pipe anyway. She collapsed. It sucked all the ends in, and like it's getting hotter and hotter and just collapsed in. Unreal. Power of steam, eh? So yeah, plan C up next. Oh, plan C I think is we're going to build a wooden box that we can have a door at one end and slip some wood in and go from, sort of work something from there I think. And have it sort of same sort of thing where the pipe comes in one end and we'll just run up and we'll have that opening at the other end, so we can just flip the little flat down, pull the wood out and do it, and then we can have it, we can always have it set up so if we need to do any more wood for any other projects, we've got it there ready to go, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but that was a bummer. It was worth a try. I've seen a few guys do it out of pipe before. I thought that was big enough that would do the job, but it was obviously one of those pipes that just doesn't like that heat. You know, probably if it was one of the different types of pipes would have been fine, but you know, you don't, until you try it, you don't know. I thought it was just, because it was starting to oval a little bit, and I thought, oh, if it just goes out around it's not going to matter. But you didn't realise it was actually fully collapsing, and with those joins and right at the other end, it sort of collapsed in itself. So it is what it is. Yeah, I thought, if it just changed, went oval, that's not going to matter shit. But yeah, it didn't like the heat. So, oh well, you don't know unless you try. No, and that was a simple way to do it. It was a big long tube. Okay, we had to have a joint in the middle of it, but it would have been perfect. But it is what it is. Oh, so yeah, probably tomorrow's video. I'll come back here in the morning. Yeah, I think he's going to build a box tonight. The owner's going to build a box to do it. I might come back and give him a hand. See how it goes, but I'm going to do a little bit more here. And then I'm going to go do the oil change in the thing. There's no point in me staying here for it. No, that's what I wanted to do next. So I could do some other things, but that's something I really need to do, is get that car sorted out a bit. So I'll take the opportunity, since it is Sunday. I didn't come here yesterday. I was doing some other stuff with my wife, trying to get some other things organised, since she's got her leg all screwed up and she can't do a lot. So I took her into town to do some jobs, because she can't drive like that. Because her leg's locked, so in place at the moment. So yeah, and then Tuesday I'm going to take her back into town again. So, should be right, we'll get there. Yeah, I might shoot down later on and give him a hand, or find out what time he's going to maybe make this box, but I want to get this car sorted, get the oil changed on it. So at least I can see if I can get this thing through the safety in the next week or whatever, and get a new windscreen in it. Alright guys, let's start on. Before I do go, please subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and comment and all those sorts of things. As many as you can. Like I keep saying, like, the subscription's free, give a thumbs up's free, and the comments doesn't cost you anything either, but it helps push the algorithms for the videos to get me more subscribers and more views, and that just helps with the channel. As I say, like, when I break that 1,000, then I can start generating a little bit of income from that, and I can put it back into building my projects and bits and pieces as well, and help support my family and stuff like that, as things go on. So that would be greatly appreciated if you can, especially hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and yeah, just a little comment. I don't care if it's just even hi, or a thumbs up in the comments, or whatever, just something to keep that algorithm rolling over better for me. Cheers guys, thanks.